to try to share this with others, but I was sharing myself. I'm sharing my personal experiences, my own personal findings, and my own personal mistakes and faults, and my own personal beliefs that are breaking down within me, you know, and then sharing this with others, so others have the comfortable sort of in a place, in a comfortable surroundings where sharing your own self and your own spirit information, this is where it's all sort of accepted, and this is where you can do that. You know, when I started to share in this publicly, you know, I found people that were willing to listen to what I had to say, but I was sharing my information, you know, what I figured it out for myself. So I was sharing myself, I was sharing my spirit, and it's still today, I'm sharing information that comes from my spirit. Do I still make mistakes, and sometimes my ego gets in the way, or, you know, my life gets in the way, or things like this get in the way. But if I don't share myself, then because how it makes me feel to be reconnected to the planet, it makes me feel so so powerful and so connected and in oneness with the planet, that I almost like I feel like everybody, I want to scream. Everybody, if you reconnect to the planet and if you become part of the planet, you know, you will feel the best that you ever felt in your life. And that's the only message that I wanted to share with others. So to ignite that curiosity and that interest for each individual, for them to reconnect, for them to find their own spirit, to find their own connection. And I mean, in with all of you guys in the admin group, I mean, it's incredible to be sharing my own spirit with your spirit. You know, that's just, to me, it's the best thing. So that's my only sort of mission, I guess, or a desire. My desire is to just say whatever I need to say to ignite that desire within others to reconnect to the planet themselves.
And people are going to inevitably ask, how do we connect to our spirit? How do we do it? And the answer ultimately is in whatever way makes sense for you. You have to create your own way of connecting. And I think generally people hate that answer, but it's the answer. It comes down to you. Once again, you have to create that connection yourself. There is no objective procedure out there that works for everybody. This is how you do it. That's never going to work. So again, it's the same message. It always comes back to you.
So Niels, maybe you can share a little bit more. How do you do it? How do you do it? Maybe somebody will find it useful.
Well, I do it the easy way. I spend all my time out in nature. I've missed 3 days in 2015 so far that I haven't been for 4 hours at least out in the woods. 3 days this year I've missed. And for me, it's just an automatic thing. I go out in the woods and everything makes sense out there. And my writings come through me at that time, and I have all my ideas kind of gel, and then I just sit down at the computer and it just pours out. I can write a 2,000 word essay in a matter of an hour and a half. It just comes out. I don't think about it, but just by being out in nature, it's a magical thing. Nature is the most complex, self-regulating, inherently balanced system that we have access to. And just by being immersed into it through resonance, through entrainment, it's going to work its magic on us, no matter what. We just have to be there with that natural system. And it's going to teach us on a subconscious level. We can call it magic if we want to, but it works. And that's, for me, it's that simple. Just being in nature, that's it.
I know for me, when I first heard Lily's material, and it wasn't until several months later that the word remembering came about, but it was a remembering. I didn't realize it was remembering till later. I just thought it was triggering me. I just knew something was right about it. But the whole concept was me remembering stuff. And at first it was remembering stuff that she was triggering in me. But, and it took me a few months of getting my head sorted out, getting all these mental questions put into a framework, just figuring things out and stuff. But at a certain point, I realized what Lily was saying. All of this information, once you get it figured out, you can't just go over it and over it again and again. It has to lead you somewhere. And I started going out into nature, like she was talking about. And I don't know, maybe it was because, like she said, the earth has been, sending her wave out and energizing us and stuff. But I did have some incredible times. It usually took a few hours. and I had to just quit thinking. And every time I would go out, there's always this place when I get a certain distance away from civilization, I just feel the change. It's like the city drops away and everything gets quiet, and it's like this, you open the door into real nature, and then you just be out there and listen to that stuff and feel it, and your thoughts just become calm. They don't disappear. It's not like meditating or anything. And I could go lay on the ground and stuff. And all I can say is that I did experience a connection that Lily was talking, but it wasn't the same as what Lily talked about, where she felt the power of the planet or something like that. To me, I felt this intense creativity. It was just like everything was being created all at once. And things were coming, from all over and coming together in a way, like Neil said, in a flash of a moment, you can get 2 hours worth of writing, That's just the way it works. And I've never forgotten that experience, because it showed me, if you will, a character of the planet and the way that it works together with you. And you just feel it. And then it's so easy to sort out the bullshit after that, when it just doesn't fit into what that felt like, what you're hearing.
So reconnecting to your own creative power, it just goes boom, and then everything starts making so much sense. And like you said, it's almost like you get this whole new perspective, because once you reconnected to your own creative power, which is within your spirit, connected to the planet, you become that oneness, and you feel how much creativity there is within the human spirit. And I think that's our power, is within our creative force, and that creative force is our life force, because we are the creators here. We do create our reality, as new agey as it sounds, but it's truth. It's the truth, and that is very, very powerful. And so it's almost like why everything it looks inverted, everything else, is because you see it from that perspective, because you're seeing it from within yourself and your creative power, and your eyes are almost like get inverted, and you see all of that stuff that's coming at you to actually take your creative power away from you. But then when you tune in into your own creative power, you feel all of it at once. I think that's what you're saying at. It's really beautiful. And the thing is, like when I even talk about how when I felt all that stuff, and I mean, I was just laying under the tree, you know, and then I felt it, and only later could I put the words to it. You know, at least some words. They're still not, you know, I haven't come up with the best words to explain what I felt when I felt that connection. You know, when it's like I went, oh, all of it is right here. It's all within me. Everything is within me. So thanks, Ed, for sharing that.
Is there anyone else who'd like to share?
I just want to talk about prior to discovering Lily's videos, it was becoming very evident that there was something very wrong in our world. And I wanted to know what it was. And I didn't realise how convoluted it was going to get, and how many layers there were going to be to peel away. But a lot of it was scary. It was very confronting, but I got through it and I found myself again, and I am so very grateful to my spirit for pushing me and prompting me and saying look further, look deeper. I'm very grateful for that. And I guess when it came to the time of discovering Lily's information, it really started connecting dots for me. So thank you, Lily. The way you articulated your information, it was just like, that's it. That's what I'm getting. I knew it was Earth. You know, it was like when I was looking externally, it was falling away. It was just like, no, this is not sticking. What's going on? But it was, again, I'm thankful for the process because it led me to where I am. And I think that the more willing we are to take responsibility for ourselves and our own, for really doing the work, not just talking about it, that's when we really start to see that we are making a difference. I know that where I can and when I can, I spend time in nature. I love being in the garden. I've actually turned our whole front yard here into gardens. It's just like hardly got any lawn anymore out there. It's just all trees and plants, and there's all birds and butterflies and bees, and it's just beautiful sitting out there in all of that. When I can get out of the city, I love to go camping and sleep on the earth. What I've found recently is that the more I've been willing to do the work and look within, set the intent for healing and connecting, I've been getting so many insights, and I've shared a few of those with you. Probably no new news, but news to me, I guess a confirmation to me that I really am connecting with spirit. And one of the things I found interesting was when Lily was talking about how they looped time, and that we're coming out of this, we've ended the 5th cycle. There's another number 5 for you, Linda. That we, I had this, it just totally made sense how they did it. And I wanted to see, well, now how are we coming out of that? How is time and space being coming together? How is it unfolding? And I got a picture of a piece of string. And this is while I'm outside laying on the earth, mind you, this is coming to me. And I got a picture of a piece of string, a vision of a piece of string that had a loop in the middle of it. And as we pull the string gently, the loop is pulled out of the middle of the string. And that's how I see that time-space unfolding on itself. And that's where we are now. I think we're at that point where it is all coming together. We are bringing it all back in. And as said Lily recently, confirmation that, you know, the Earth timeline, it did activate. We're on it. And we are living in such an incredibly interesting time. I'm so glad that I'm here witnessing this right now. I feel so privileged. Just wanted to share that, and that, you know, I think it's really important for people to realise they need to do the work for themselves. They really have to do that. You can't ride home on anyone's coattails. We need to be willing to do the work and to be present. That's it from me.
Well, Lily, do we want to talk about where we're headed with the Facebook group?
She's muted.
Lily, can you hear me?
She's locked up.
Ah, okay.
Oh, there she is.
Yes, yes, go ahead, Ed. Talk about that.
Okay, well, for all of you listening, we've been discussing that we're all feeling like it's time to move forward. It's just time to, things are changing and we need to change with it. And all of us have been feeling like the Facebook group has turned into a glorified babysitting venue. And we're just dealing with problems and people and stuff like that. And that was never the intention for the group. You know, I wrote this story about what you envisioned it, and actually what we feel is happening, that is only happening within a small number of us. But anyway, with the Facebook group, we would like it to be a place where people can commune with one another, but we are absolutely tired of putting up with the bullshit that we have to deal with, and nobody wants to deal with it anymore because energy is just going in to handling things that are draining everybody, and nobody can move forward. So basically where we want to go is that the Facebook group, if you want to be part of it, we're just going to announce Lily's or videos that we do, insights that we get, but we don't want any outside information. We want people's healing stories. We don't want arguing. We don't want people coming in to try to push their own stuff or to question things. Look, all those things have their place, and you can do that elsewhere, but it's not what we had envisioned for the Earth Soul Group, and we just don't want to handle it anymore. And so look, if you can't handle a post that you want to put up, if it gets deleted and that bothers you, well, that's just kind of tough luck, because you know you have to find a way. If you want to participate, you just need to get on the stick with what we want to do. And so that's where we're headed with the Earth Soul Group. And you know, if you're not there for the purpose of healing and actually, you know, interacting with one another on a positive level, it's not for you. Lily, you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, this group, our group, is not to teach anybody anything. I mean, it really isn't, because the mental understanding of the healing process and the reconnecting to the planet, it really honestly cannot be explained in words. It has to be done. It has to be experienced by each individual. Their own spirit has to be experienced by them. By each individual has to experience their own reconnection to their own spirit, to their own planet. If I would to give, or anybody from the admins that are here that we're talking, you know, all the admin group, if we are to give a really good mental understanding, it will not help anybody unless that person is willing to put the work in and try to experience that through their own spirit. That's what I want to add to that. I mean, I said this before, we can talk about it all day, but if we are not out there doing it, you know, it won't do us any good. So, who else wants to add things?
I'd like to pipe in just a bit. Interestingly, that very last point you made, Lily, a couple of days ago, I wrote it down. It hit me so strongly. And it just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words in one sentence. It says it cannot be learned. You can't learn it. It has to be done. That's the one sentence. It cannot be learned. It has to be done. How you do it is unique. It's individual. How Lily does it, how Ed does it, how Niels does it, how I do it, Justin, Donna, Linda, Norel, we all do it differently, but it's tailor-made to each individual person. And what we do, Lily has mentioned it, amongst the admin group, that's what we do. We share with each other. Yes, we talk about issues that may arise within the group or have arisen in the group, but our joy is sharing our personal experiences as we go. And in the process, we sit back and listen to each other and we encourage each other. We don't sit there and say, you're wrong, or I know a better way. It's none of that stuff. It doesn't work that way. I think I just ran out of gas, so okay.
I have something I'd like to add also. I remember when I first heard Lily's videos and stuff, and her explaining this power and what she felt, connection to the earth. I would always say to myself, what is she talking about? What I want to feel that. Why don't I feel that? And I'd go out and I'd sit underneath my little tree and come back in, and you know, but yet I did it. I did it every day. And I don't have a lot of nature around me because I live near a big city. And I remember one time Lily saying, you only need a little patch of earth. But it was sort of elusive to me. But I had to do the work. I had to go out and be in nature every single day and lay underneath my tree, take my little dog, and I did it over and over and over. And one day, out of the clear blue sky, I can't even explain to you, because you cannot put it in words like Lily says. You cannot put it in words. When the spirit goes through you and you make that connection to the earth, it is like nothing you have ever felt in your entire life. And it happened. It happened, and it blew me away. And so I guess my message is you gotta do the work, because it's such a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful when it comes through. But you can't feel it if you don't make the connection, if you don't go out into nature and you don't ask your spirit to connect, it's not going to happen. But when it does, you'll know what it is. And I think that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, I guess I'll pipe in a little bit too, because you guys have pretty much all echoed a lot of what I was going to say. Just two minor experiences, well, major for me, that related to connecting with the planet. For a long time, I suffered severe insomnia, and a good friend of mine invited me to go rustic camping a few years ago. And 3 nights camped out, and that cured my insomnia. So right there, Mother provides. Another time I was outside, and I was grounding, but I wasn't realizing that I was grounding. And I went into, probably similar to what Betsy just described, an experience of connecting my spirit with the earth. And I immediately was in the present moment, and everything, I could see the life in everything. Everything started glowing. I could see spirit everywhere. The group, ESG, we are about healing, and it is an individual path. And all of our experiences are different, but the one thing I think all of us can agree on is the connecting with the planet. Bare feet on the ground, and that's why I do my little bare feet all over their soul group, is to remind people that that is one of the best ways that you can connect with your spirit. And my personal goal is to be connected with spirit 24/7. And part of my healing path is becoming aware of the things that trigger me. If something pisses me off, makes me angry, makes me feel hurt, whatever, I don't strike out at the people or situations that have caused it. I bring it back and look at myself and try to find out what program is running in my mind or wound from the past that hasn't been healed. And I bring it forward. And then I ask my spirit to release it and replace it with more spirit, to put it bluntly. And it works. But just like everybody else says, it's not going to happen for anybody unless you do the work. You've got to do it yourself. None of us here are teachers. We're just sharing our personal experiences. And we hope that you all are willing to do the work and step up and share your experiences too. And I really enjoy our soul group. I enjoy the interaction. I feel like I found my tribe, especially with Lily. My gosh, I've felt like such a loner my whole life, and here this little Ukrainian woman comes out and she says, "Oh my God, everything I knew." Somebody else has the same insights. So feeling like you're not alone or the only weirdo in the world is a really is very beneficial. And I know that there are people in ESG that have had these realizations too, and they do share. And my hope is that everybody else gets on board and starts doing the work and sharing as well. And pretty much that's all I wanted to share in this little chat.
Yeah,
You know?
it's like Betsy said, you know, it doesn't work from the first time. You got to really put the work in. And then when it happens, you know when it happens. Because it's the most real thing you will ever feel is the reconnection to your own spirit and to your own mother planet. It's the most real thing that I have ever experienced in my life.
Absolutely.
And you're absolutely right, Linda. I mean, finding weirdos just like you in the world is also the best thing that ever happened. So that's why I love all of you and I love this group, because it's, you know, you got a tribe of weirdos.
And I wanted to address this thing about you've got to do the work, and because it's absolutely true, but it's not going to become a motto or the thing you have to do, you have to do the work. No, because it's not, what you have to do is you just have to decide that you're tired of talking about all this stuff and you're tired of gathering information. You want your own experience. And so you just have to go find it.
Yes, perfect.
It's not like we can prescribe all your work and your duties and you have to spend this X amount of time out there and it has to be a tree or a rock or an earth or the woods or a lake or whatever. It's just, you just got to get tired of all this mental bullshit and collecting of information and just go find a reality that's going to, and it doesn't have to happen all at once. It doesn't have to happen like anybody else's stuff. You just have to get wanting it enough that you go look for it. And then it's going to happen in some form or another for you.
I want to add a little bit also about connecting with our animals, because they have the 4 feet on the ground all the time. They're very grounded. They very much relay to us the unconditional love from Mother Earth. And I have learned that watching their energy has really taught me a lot about my internal work. And I'm sure everybody out there has some kind of connection with animals. And you really can tune in internally. And I'm coming off, I just want to say that I started with Lily's videos and information coming off of the UFO subject. I had gotten into learning everything about UFOs and it didn't get it for me. I mean, I was like, I don't understand this. It's not, I don't want to be away from the earth. And then when you came along, Lily, and you said, you got to connect to Mother Earth, and it just all fell in place for me. It's not up there. Heaven is down on earth. That is where heaven is. Everybody looks up, it's down. And
Yes.
I just really believe that. So that's all I wanted to say.
That's beautiful. I agree with you about the animals. The animals were a huge help for me. I mean, I don't even know if I would be here that I would reconnect to the planet and to my own spirit if I didn't have my animals around me. So yes, for those of us that do have animals, they do help us because they help me tremendously. So that's very true.
All right. Well, I think we're just going to draw this to a close now, unless anybody has some objection.
Justin didn't unmute herself. Is she still there? Anybody? Did we miss anybody?
Looks like she's talking, but we can't hear her.
Okay.
We'll have to figure Justin out later.
Okay. Well, anybody else wants to add anything? Niels, do you want to add anything?
It's worth it.
I'll have something. Tomorrow I'm going to post something in our soul group that's a new writing. The next chapter in that Felix story is what you call it. It's called Running Dialogue. But I'm going to have that out sometime tomorrow. And I'm just thinking of how it fits in with so much of what we've said here today. I think you'll all appreciate it. It's mostly done. So I'll just finish that up and you can read it tomorrow, and something to look forward to, hopefully.
Great.
All right, sounds good. I mean, this is what it is. We have the group not to sort of, create any more mental understandings or anything. We just wanted to share the things that we do, and each of us individually does different things, and we find our own spirit in our own way, different way. And so all we want to do is share with everybody else, so everyone else can turn inwards and search for their own spirit. And when you do find it, like we all said here, it's the most real, the most profound experience you're going to have. And then once you have that experience, everything else, all this talk and all this mental beliefs and everything is just, it doesn't look as important. It doesn't sound as important, because then you and your spirit and your own self become the most important thing to you. And so, and if there's anything I wanted to add is, if you want to hang on to any belief system, then I would just say believe in your own self, believe in your own spirit, believe in the fact that you have the power to connect to your spirit, and there is nothing that can stop you. If you really have that powerful desire to reconnect with your own spirit, you can do that. There's nothing that can stop you. It doesn't matter, like Betsy said, it doesn't matter that you don't live around the nature. You can find a tree, you can go, or you can, you know, if you live somewhere on the 11th floor of the apartment, you have a little plant, you have your own spirit, and your spirit is part of this planet. So even if you don't have the place to connect to the planet, you can still connect to yourself. You can still connect to that life force that is within you. So I guess that's what we're trying to say here, is that every one of us have our own path. But if we set that intent to reconnect to our own true self, then none of it happens in 1 minute. None of it happens really fast. At least for us, as we can say, but maybe for some people it will. But you will activate that memory of your ancient self, and there is information there. It's gonna come up, and you might find some very interesting things about yourself, your own self, about this planet, and about our future. Because our future, like we talked about earlier, how exciting it is right now to be alive. I mean, I am like a kid in the candy store. I am this excited about the future of this planet and the future of humanity. I am so excited. So thank you all for being on the call. Unless anybody have anything else to do, to add? No?
Good night.
Thank you.
Nice.
Well,
Good
thank you
night.
everybody, and I love you all, and then hopefully we can have another talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.